Hi, folks. Welcome to Hope Rescue Podcast. This is Kimberly, and I'm Tim, and we're glad to have you with us today. We're right in this middle of a series called Dumb Things Christians Say.
Yeah, this is our second episode.
Yeah.
And I bet you we could come up with like mass volumes of dumb things people say and Christians say especially.
As a public speaker, both of us are public speakers. There have been times two things happen to me sometimes. One, like where you got something really profound to say and it comes out so stupid. It's so dumb. And you say something really dumb, or you tell a joke that was inappropriate.
And you're like, could I just rewind that back?
Yeah. I mean, there have been times over the years I could literally start blushing when I think about things that I've said. You ever do that? Like something you did a long time ago and you go,
and we both we were both raised by preachers, so we've heard some crazy stuff and we've said some crazy things. So when we say that we're in this series, Dumb Things Christians Say, we're not saying it's us and them, those dumb Christians.
No,
we have been those dumb Christians.
I was going to say, the other thing is not just dumb things that I've said, but I don't know why this happens when I'm public speaking. Maybe the adrenaline or something. Maybe I'm nervous. I don't think I'm ever nervous. But anyway, I'll gulp.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wait, what just happened?
You get so excited and this froggy sound comes out of your throat.
So when we're talking about dumb things that people say, right, we're saying more kind of along the lines of cliches, things that need greater colloquial. See, there's a dumb colloquialism.
And just try to spell that.
Yeah, no, I'd rather not. I can barely say it. So we talked last time about people say, well, this child died. And I get the motivation is great. God needed another angel in heaven. That's why this loved one passed. Yeah. And a lot of times those cliches come out of a desire to help people get through a difficult time.
Yeah. Good motives.
Here's one I want to look at today. God will never give you more than you can handle.
Yeah.
And I heard that all the time growing up.
Yeah.
And
it's like visually, I think of it like you're in like a half Nelson by God and he's waiting for you to say uncle but he's enjoying the torture until you say uncle and then he won't give you any more. And and that's
say uncle. Okay.
Say uncle.
I don't see my relationship with God with him.
Like he's torturing us somehow, but only to the brink of us not totally breaking. Yeah. When in truth, we come to brokenness many times in our life. Yeah. And God is always there.
It's almost like, this idea that God is, I don't know, some would say Santa Claus or just the provider of every whim that you have. He is definitely the provider of every good gift. Yeah. But that isn't every whim that we have. Yeah. So this idea that God would never allow you to go through difficulty. When his son went through difficulty, Jesus went through difficulty so that we could have eternal life. And so I think this idea, growth happens in the context of difficulty.
It does.
There have been a couple of times in my life where I have been shamed, publicly shamed, and reputation hurt. And, in dealing with that, I had to really pursue God. Yeah. And because it just wouldn't go away, it was one of those places where you were forced to pursue God. I heard somebody say the other day, this thing had happened to them, and this lady said, I was so angry at God. And God's like, okay, I can handle this. Yeah. Keep being angry. I'm going to show you something here. Yeah. And she said, and as time went on, the issue that I was upset at God about didn't change, but my heart towards God changed. Yes. And that's when I realized God is calling me to be intimate with him in these difficult situations.
Right. And I think, you're talking about Jesus and how God authored that path for him to suffer on behalf of us. And so we know that there are times when he allows difficult times to come, and there's times maybe when he actually has purposed it. I don't believe he is the author of all of our pain. That comes from just being human in a broken world.
Right.
But what I do know for a fact is that without a doubt, his goal for us is not to be comfortable, but to be shaped.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that when we are most comfortable, like you said, we are least likely to grow.
Yeah. So if you say to someone, God will never give you more than you can handle, then when you get to that place where you can't handle what's come into your life, what's that going to do? It's going to make you angry at God
Yeah.
or angry at yourself because you're not strong enough. And when that person said it to you, they were saying you need to handle more. But I think that disillusionment comes from a false concept. Here's the idea as I see it. God will allow things to come into your life. He will give you things you can't handle so that you will turn to him so that he will handle it. That's where the power comes.
That's the secret sauce.
And you remember, when we were talking recently about prayer just a month ago or so on the podcast. And I think about how prayer sometimes is seen as if I earnestly pray and I really believe God, then I'm going to get what I want.
Yeah.
And there's a certain truth to that, but it takes a transformed heart to be able to get to that place.
Yeah.
But I think about in 2 Corinthians how Paul, you remember he had a thorn in the side?
Flesh, which nobody knows what that is.
Yeah, I never really got into what that was.
I feel like women get it once a month.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Paul had that problem.
I mean,
I think
yeah.
I identified male.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but anyway. So yeah, whatever that thing was, speculations were that it was his blindness that he had a problem seeing. Some people have other kinds of problems with his digestive system and so forth. We don't know exactly what it was. Those were pretty common problems, but his definitely had problems with eyesight. And he said, I have been given so much revelation that God sent an affliction. And it's interesting how he put it. He said he sent a messenger from Satan to buffet my body. So God actually used Satan to teach him something.
Messenger from Satan, which we learned last week, are fallen angels.
Fallen angels, yeah. So some demonic sources came into his life and afflicted his body.
Yeah.
So think back of the story of Job. And Job stands before God as a righteous person. And Satan says, hey, he's only righteous because you protect him and make his life easy. And he said, all right, let's test him. So he allowed Satan to inflict his body, wouldn't allow him to kill Job, but he'd allowed to inflict his body. He lost his children, different things that he went through. But Job, in that testing, he didn't do well for a long time. And then finally, through the process of this testing, God spoke to him, and Job responded in a way that was filled with faith in God and realizing intimacy with God was the goal.
That's the goal.
So God does allow. Job definitely was given more than he could handle.
Yeah.
All the death of his children, all of those things. So Paul prays,
Right.
take this from me. And he prays, it says 3 times. Now, I think that's 3 seasons of prayer. I don't think it was 3 prayers. On Monday he prayed, on Tuesday he prayed, Wednesday he prayed, and, but he prayed in 3 seasons of prayer, and he pleaded with the Lord to take it away. And God said no. And let me read to you out of 2 Corinthians 12:9. It says, God said to him, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And in the next verse it says, for when I am weak, then am I strong. So I prefer to be buffeted. So when you hear this statement, God will never allow you to be tempted or to handle more than you can take. It's just not true.
Yeah, it's not true.
Yeah,
and the sweet spot in that is when you come to the end of yourself. What he loves most is when we're desperate for him.
Yeah.
And so that's when, we're hardwired to need our creator. And A lot of times we get self-sufficient and we think we got it all figured out, and especially when life is going good. And then when something disastrous happens and you have no control over the results or the outcome, that's when we get to that place of desperation and we throw our hands in the air finally and say, okay, Lord, like, I need you. And he's sitting back saying, let me teach you some things through this. First of all, I'm here.
Yeah.
I got you.
Well, we got to the place after we got married, and Lord did this kind of beautiful blending of our families, and just we're living really our best life. We had a couple of things that happened, health issues. And for you, if you share kind of how...
Well, in just reviewing this beforehand, I was thinking of, kind of marrying the power of prayer and then being in those intimate moments of desperation with the Lord. When we discovered I had a brain tumor, this was a year ago, last September, and I needed to have it removed. There's something very helpless, people that are out there that have had things happen to your brain. Now you feel completely, it's so different than any other part of your body, where if it's like, you have an issue with arthritis, a joint, somewhere that's disconnected from your head, but when it's in your brain, there's a total sense of fear and just dread, and you can't get away from it. You can't run away from it. And so I had my surgery scheduled and was, doing my best, obviously seeking the Lord in desperation because of, any kind of brain surgery. You can come out the other end of that with your life turned upside down. And that's if you make it through,
Right.
in the beginning. But so what was so precious about this was the Lord knew my heart, and I was doing my best with the tools that I had in seeking him for peace and comfort. But the day of the surgery, I'll never forget being prepped, and you were with me. Our anesthesiologist came into the hospital room, and he says, it says here on your charts that you are pastors. And he said, I'm a believer. Would you mind if I pray with you right now? And here's a stranger I'd never met before. I'm going to get choked up. And he was willing to grab our hands as I'm entering into, getting ready to be rolled down the hallway to pray over me and my health and to come out the other side. It was such a beautiful sign of God saying, I'm with you here in the trenches. Now, that's not all. As I was rolled into the operating room, they put the gas mask over my head so I can't even speak, and the lights are bright and my arms are strapped in, and they're getting ready to put me out. And a woman on my left grabs my hand. She's some kind of an assistant. Don't know her name or anything, but she started rubbing my arm almost like a mom would in comfort, just
nurses are amazing.
Tenderness, just sweet tenderness. And then another woman put her head down to my ear, and she whispered in my ear, and she said, there are 3 of us in here who are believers, and we're covering you in prayer right now. And that was the last thing I heard before I lost consciousness. And so even in that moment when I felt totally helpless, I felt so surrounded and protected by the Lord's presence, with strangers who were willing to say, I've got you, I'm praying for you. So that's what I'm talking about, those moments of desperation. Yes, I was in a place where I was absolutely incapable of handling that scenario.
Yeah.
But God was there with me and sent people and the right tools and brought incredible comfort. So he does take us to the brink sometimes.
Yeah, and it's interesting how that works. And if you love somebody, you know how this works. So the year before, or a little more than a year before, I found out I had cancer. And that was harder for you than it was for me. I was like, I've lived a pretty good life, and
that was hard for me.
It was hard for you.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But it wasn't that hard for me because I was, I didn't want to leave you, but I certainly was thankful for my life. When we found out you had a brain tumor, which was months before the surgery, obviously, and we're like, this could be, it could be fatal, and it could change your life forever. And it has changed you to a certain extent. You have cognitive skills, but there are other things challenges that you have. And, it did change things. And but God gives you the grace for
Yeah.
that. Here's one of the things I want to tell you, that when you are worried about something in the future, God has not given you the grace to handle that future problem. He only gives you the grace to handle the problem you have today.
Right, today.
And he told us that. You know, Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, he says, tomorrow has enough worries for itself.
Yes.
Just deal with today.
My grace is sufficient.
Yes.
Today.
And that's and so for us to like look forward and go, you know, can we deal with that problem down the road? And one of the things that has hit us this year, and we've mentioned it when we were talking about prayer, is our daily bread.
Yeah.
That, you know, my worries are never about my daily bread. I'm not worried about today's bread. I got bread. You know, I got what I need. I've got the right house. I got an amazing wife and children, and, you know, and I've got health and so forth. But I don't have bread for tomorrow. But I'm not supposed to have bread for tomorrow. So when you think in context of, will God allow something in your life that you can't handle, remember this: God didn't bring that into your life, that fear of tomorrow. You did.
Yeah.
You accepted something into your life that you can't handle. And you can't handle it because God's not there for that. God is there
He will be.
for, He will be when you get there, because you
Yeah.
don't even know what the problem
Right.
is going to be tomorrow.
Right.
It's certainly not going to be what you suspect.
Yeah.
It may be tougher, it may be easier, but God is grace in that situation. So when you say to somebody, God will never give you more than you can handle, let's clarify and make sure that we understand God always gives us the ability to overcome when we turn to Him. When you're at the end of yourself, realize you need to go to God. Our first reaction is, God, where are you? And He's like, I'm right here.
Been right here, buddy.
Been here, right next to you. So we have more of these dumb things that Christians say that we'll be sharing with you, but we just kind of wanted to deal with this because I know a lot of you are going through difficult times, and you need to know that God is there. And the sooner you turn to Him, the quicker you'll experience the power to overcome whatever is in your life that you need to handle. So Kimberly and I have found great peace in this, and we know that we're going to have to fight that struggle of worry in the future. But right now, we've got to say, okay, God, today is enough. And we thank you for it. And that's our prayer for you, is that you would experience God's grace in your life. And we're so glad that you chose to listen to our podcast today. We love coming to you in this format. Invite a friend. We'll be sharing some more dumb things that Christians say. So you come and hear what those are, and we'll give you our best take on how to turn that around and then turn that into a positive. Thanks for listening to Hope Rescue Podcast. God bless. Have a great week.
Bye, guys.